is an opportunity to make a difference today and in the days ahead. Why not extend kindness and support to someone who needs it? Our focus for this week is longevity through health and wellness practices. Together, we'll explore the strategies to enhance the life quality, embrace the wellness, and unlock new opportunities and new possibilities for a healthier future. For our speaker today, we have Trish Schwenkler, a celebrated health and wellness coach who will share practical strategies for living a longer and a healthier life. And then we have Dr. Sunny Ahonsi, a trailblazer in health and wellness entrepreneurship. Dr. Sunny will present the Global Health Entrepreneurship Program, offering insights into merging innovation with the opportunity. He will also introduce the groundbreaking tools like the BIP scan technology, revolutionizing the health monitoring and personalized care. We encourage you to actively engage, participate, learn, and invite a friend right now to join this conversation. Let's together create an impactful session today and inspire change in the lives of many. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us today. And let's make this today an memorable and impactful Super Wednesday. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Over to you, Trish.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Aishwarya, for hosting. And it's a lovely, lovely introduction and a lovely beginning of this webinar. Thank you, Dr. Sunny. Great to see you again over in the UK. Thank you for all that you do for the world in terms of wellness. Happy New Year to everybody. It's a party day. Happy New Year. I hope you're celebrating the new year and doing something fun today. Hope you had nice holidays with your family. And as Aishwarya said, what we are going to focus on today is wellness. So I see many of my friends from Denmark. Welcome, Henrik and Anameta and Connie and Sila and many others, Gerti Mila. Welcome, everybody. Happy to see you. Happy to see my UK friends. Happy to see a few new guests on this webinar today. So as you can probably tell by the way I'm speaking, I'm from the United States. I've been in the health and wellness industry for over 30 years. And specifically the last 15 years involved with a new technology called redox signaling molecules. So in the second half of this presentation, I'm going to show you a little bit more about redox signaling molecules. But to start off with, what I was going to do was to actually allow Zoom Workplace to share your screen. Okay. Share a video from a very renowned dentist. But here I am on Zoom Workplace at home. And it seems like...
Just take your time, take it slow. And when you're in a rush, you are the master of all today.
I love you, Dr. Sunny. You're never in a rush. It's really wonderful. I'm going to call my husband because my Zoom Workplace doesn't want to share my screen right here. I got a new computer. Fine. I got a new computer last week. That's the problem.
Call the bishop.
Okay, so I think what we should do while my husband works on my computer here, I haven't shared my screen on my new computer and Zoom won't let me do it for some reason. I was going to show some slides and show a video. But while we're waiting for him to do that, why don't we just hear from a few people who have used redox signaling molecules and maybe just keep it really short, like what life was like before you discovered redox signaling molecules, and just one or two things that changed for you after you discovered redox signaling molecules. So why don't we start with Anameta from Denmark? Maybe you could share a little bit your experience, Anameta.
Yes. Before I say I got a lot of pain because I was in a car accident. So I got pain in my back and actually all my body, and I had a lot of dizziness and headaches. And today I'm totally fit. I go to the gym almost every day. I have a lot of energy and I just love life again.
That's wonderful. How long did it take you to notice a difference, Annametta?
About 1-2 months. I could feel that something was happening. I didn't know what was happening, and I didn't know if it was a seer. And then actually I talked with you, Trish, and you said that I should drink a lot more of these reading signaling molecules. And then I tripled the dose, and after 10 days, I had my first day in 15 years without a headache.
Incredible. Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. That's beautiful. So Henrik's right there with you. Henrik, what was your experience with the amazing redox signaling molecules?
Yeah, I was one of the first one to meet this product here in Denmark. So of course, a lot of skepticism from the start from a lot of people. But what I felt in my body was extra energy. I felt that I was sleeping much better, feeling more clear, and actually also getting in a new shape, finding out that I suddenly could take my bikes and take long rides. Now not only 5 miles anymore, but actually suddenly up to 600 miles in 5 days. Also starting to run. So also my body age went almost 30 years down, and I lost 27 kilo during my time here in Acer in these 9 years. So it was the most incredible thing to find this product, and also fantastic to find the business that you really can make a change for a lot of people around the world, instead of a lot of people's only talking about making a change for other people. Here you really get the opportunity to get the real payment, like hugs and goosebumps, by helping other people to a new life.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Henrik. Who wouldn't want to change other people's lives, lose weight, sleep better, have more energy, right?
Ready when you are.
So, okay, so my computer is ready now, thanks to my wizard husband. Thank you, Bob. Okay, so let's move this thing, and we'll hear from some more people a little later today. But right now, I'm going to go to Safari. And what I'd like to do is play at least, maybe 10 or 15 minutes of an interview that I did with a renowned dentist from the United States last August. And he's a very amazing person. He'll introduce himself during this video. So if you need to turn your speakers up, do that. And again, I think I'll just play like 15 minutes of it, and then we'll go back into hearing from some more people's experiences and doing a presentation to educate those of you who are guests here today about what are redox signaling molecules.
Super happy that you're with us. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. We have a wonderful speaker today from the great state of Washington, right here in the United States. And of course, Dr. Lee Osler has taken time to join us, so we really appreciate that. So these Discover Redox webinars are designed to help you discover redox through the eyes and experience of a health professional. And no one could be more knowledgeable than Dr. Lee Osler. So Dr. Osler, could you tell us a little bit about your professional background, and then we'll go from there.
Well, it's a delight to be with you and all your guests tonight on this amazing weekly event in the world of ASEA. This has been one of the hallmark journeys of a lot of people as they come in to participate as a viewer and to learn. So thank you for having me on. I'm a dentist, as you mentioned. I've been a dentist for over 40 years. And so that makes me kind of old, I guess, but it's a wonderful career, at least it has been for me. And so I find myself at the end of a career looking for something to do next. And so this really does help fill that. It'll make my wife happy that I'm not hanging around her a lot as that begins to happen. My career has taken me a lot of ways. I've been a clinical instructor. I'm a past president of the American Academy for Oral Systemic Health. And we started back in the early 2010, 2011 timeframe to put together a professional academy of dentists and physicians and scientists around the world that would focus on what we call the oral systemic connection, which is the mouth and the body. And one of the principal parts of that is dealing with inflammation. And so, and one of the principal pathways in inflammation is what we call the NF-κB pathway. And I know that may mean very little to most of those watching, but it's the inflammatory pathway. And that's the bottom line when it comes to oral disease and how it is related to systemic or overall disease. And so the reason why that's pertinent is as I began looking at the science behind redox, cell biology, that whole inflammatory pathway just jumped off the page at me. And I think it's one that is still underappreciated. We can get into that later if we want, but that's one of the initial things that really caught my attention was the significant influence that redox cell biology has with regards to inflammation locally and systemically. So that was my experience with the American Academy for Oral Systemic Health. And ironically, the path of how I came to ASEA kind of merged because of that. And we can get into that story in just a
Here. Very strange.
Quite accomplished.
No.
He scratched his head and basically said, I think you should try some redox signaling if you'll
We'll start.
finding satisfactory answers. And so one day,
So weird. I have a good internet connection. Okay, we'll start wherever it starts. Dr. Osler, where are you? Okay. Well, the powers that be don't want us to watch Dr. Osler today, so that's fine. Let's see, am I unmuted? Am I unmuted, Anameta?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. We're gonna do a PowerPoint. I don't know, my internet connection is good, so I don't know what happened to Dr. Lee Osler. But anyway, I can send you, I'll put,
Try him again because it's quite interesting what he was saying.
okay, let's see here.
No panic, Trish. We're all here for you.
and in one of the books I had read, the author had indicated that if she had to head to the hills in kind of a doomsday thing, you know, the bag of herbal medicines that she would take with her, in the top 20, top 10, top 5 list, she would have ASEA would be in her top list of, you know, herb solutions, natural solutions. And I remember thinking at the time, well, that's not even a herb. I don't know why that matters. And I just passed on it until Dr. Lin mentioned it again. I thought, you know, mention it twice, that's really kind of odd. So I Googled it and we got some, and within about 48 hours, it was like flipping a switch for her. It was
He's talking about his
quite
wife.
demonstrable. It was almost jaw-dropping to just watch what was going on. I texted him back because he's a good friend, and I said, Dr. Rand, you're not going to believe what's happening right now. And his response was one word, as I recall, with a question mark, and it was, really? And so that began his earnest search, as it turns out, because I didn't know this was going on. I didn't know what redox was at the time, except that it had something to do with chemistry. So anyway, that began my inquisitive research. But it was later that next week, this was in the fall of 18, and our annual scientific session for the American Academy for Oral Systemic Health was being held in Vegas. I was no longer the leadership. I'd passed that baton. I was not the program chair. And so I thought to myself, before I go down there this weekend to this meeting that has my fingerprints all over it, I should get online and see who's speaking and who the exhibitors are so I don't embarrass myself when I show up. And lo and behold, there's ASEA as one of the exhibitors. That's the third time now in just this short period of time where I got this from a totally different direction. Dr. Maureen Hayes was the registrar of the exhibit with an email listed, so I emailed her, didn't know who she was, what this ASEA thing was. And I said, this just happened to my wife. We did it because our physician recommended it. I can't wait to meet you this weekend so I can learn more about this. She replied and she said, well, we can talk, but I'm going to be in London with my physician husband, who's getting an award in London for growing he's a stem cell researcher and physician. He's getting an award for cloning pig lungs up on the space station. And I'm like thinking, who are these people, right? I was like, it was just too much. Anyway, long story short, I wound up at the meeting, met some people there, at the booth, including Dr. Avi Hershowitz and others, and started to get my curiosity, my questions answered. Well, the reason why this AOSH meeting was important is that while in the 10 years I was heavily involved in leadership in that organization, I was doing an immense amount of research because we were trying to legitimize this new concept of this connection between the mouth and the body. And so I'd spent a lot of time in PubMed doing professional level research, building out bibliographies and so forth. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to do that with Redox. I know how to do it. And so I started researching and pulling, hundreds of articles and bibliographies and abstracts and started to, we call it connect the dots, right? And so I'm connecting the dots and building this out. And I don't recall exactly who it was. It might have been Dr. Walker. By then we had met, and he said, why don't you just, give us a copy of your bibliography. In fact, why don't you just make a book out of it, and then we don't have to do our own research. And so that was kind of the motive, or that was the pushing factor, to get me to publish a book on it. But it's that intense investigation into the science where I began to connect the dots, not with company spin. I didn't want ASEA to convince me of this. I wanted to see what was really going on in the literature. Like, is this really a thing, or is this just a company out there that's come up with something and they're marketing it and it's kind of nice and whatever. But again, my wife's experience is sitting here in the background, telling me this after 40 years, this is the only thing that has made a profound difference like this. And so all of these motivating factors were kind of pushing me forward in this direction of do the research, figure it out. I guess I have some form of OCD brain damage about literature research, got to know the know-how, all that kind of stuff. And I really love doing that because I'm good at it. I've had a lot of time doing it. And I was scratching this itch like crazy, to satisfy myself. And after a while, after you've done hundreds and hundreds of articles, you brought them all together, and you can see what the science really is. And I'm not talking about ASEA science. I'm talking about how the body works. It was just magic. And then you mate that up with what ASEA has created, and it's a hand in glove fit as a solution. And the reason why it works is because it plays on these cellular redox biology pathways that we all talk about. They play on those pathways to turn on your survival and your longevity genes. That's the key. You're activating processes through a process called hormesis, which is a cell biology term. But it's the idea that if you mildly stress the body, mildly stress the cell, it will respond in a way to become stronger. It will become healthier. It will repair itself quicker. And so this is where I came up with this idea of a redox lifestyle. Because lifestyle, we've talked about lifestyle in our not just our country, it's throughout the world. We all know about lifestyle. And very few of us really pursue in earnest a good lifestyle because we've got too many conveniences and on and on and on. But lifestyle improvements work, again, because of the cell redox biology. And ASEA fits on that exactly. And the nice thing about it is that it is a direct influence. It's not an indirect, which there's nothing wrong with indirect. That's what diet, nutrition, and herbs, and exercise, and fasting, and keto, all of that is an indirect way of doing it. But ASEA found a way to directly do it. There's no intermediaries. And so it's a quick, fast, direct approach to the cell, to the DNA, to the mitochondria, to upregulate all these things we're struggling so hard in our life to make work for us. So I've thrown a lot of spaghetti on the wall there. Maybe some of that will stick, but that kind of summarized how I got into this, how I was exposed to it. I did call Dr. Marine back after we started to talk, and I go, I'm figuring out that this is a network marketing company. And it was one of those like, yeah, stay away from me. And it's a chicken bone sideways in my throat. It's hard to swallow this. And I go, but I can't deny what I'm reading. I can't deny what I've seen, what I've experienced. There's something to this. So if this is the only way I can get this, I said to her, would you be my sponsor? And so she agreed to be my sponsor. But I was not recruited. She just laid over in front of the road, and I had to trip over her to go any further. So it's been a delightful relationship, and I've enjoyed her mentoring.
Sure. So I think people would be interested in hearing more about the connection between oral systemic health and maybe redox molecules or the inflammation, things that scientific stuff that you as a super educated health professional could share with them that maybe they're not going to hear somewhere else.
I think I can back into that. Maybe we could start with a little more broad description or understanding of what redox signaling molecules are doing in the first place, and then maybe we can make a comment that's specific about oral health in that regard. And so there might be people who are first learning about this who don't really understand all the stuff. So let me zoom out into a big picture and kind of dumb it down just a little bit so that a fifth grader could maybe understand it. And the way I do that is to say that our cells are designed in a way to be able to respond to stress. If they weren't, we'd all be dead. We live in a stressful environment. There's toxins and chemicals and radiation and poisons and inside our body, there's just the process of making energy in the mitochondria produces metabolic waste and damaged proteins and so on and so forth. So there has to be a mechanism or a manner in which our body, our cells, know how to repair themselves, know how to respond to the stress. And so I found that a good analogy to make this understandable is to think of it like a thermostat. If there was a thermostat on the wall of your home, you know that you can go over there and set the thermostat to a specific number, a degree of temperature for that room or for your house or whatever, and that the machinery behind the walls or in the attic or the crawl space, whatever, will work because of that thermostat setting, will work to keep the house comfortable. Or we can call that homeostasis or balanced or whatever. But if the room temperature were to become elevated, if it became hot or if it became cold, there is a relay, there's a switch inside the thermostat that would switch on, and it would tell the machine in the garage or wherever to turn on and do something to condition or heat or warm or alter the ambient environment that we're living inside the home in, until it corrected it and brought it back to the set point whereupon the machine turns off. The switch flips off, the machine stops working, and we're sitting at balance until the next moment in time that the room gets too hot or gets too cold. And so there's this cycling, switching going on all the time that's keeping the ambient condition of the room in a balanced, comfortable way. I think that's a great analogy for how the cell works. There's a thermostat in the cell. We call him a transcription factor, or we can just think of him as a redox switch that has the ability to sense or detect the degree or the amount of oxidation in the cell. And if you could think of it this way, just like the room, you're either not right, meaning too hot or too cold, or you're balanced. It's binary. And the cell is the same way. You're either oxidized or you're not. You're in balance. And so it's a really simple concept. The one caveat to that is if you are oxidized, then the next decision point is, well, how much oxidized are you? Are you highly oxidized or are you mildly oxidized? And that's kind of a gradient. It can be up and down on a gradient in that regard. But because of that basic cell biology, the cells the cell's programming is able to sense or detect the degree of stress defined as oxidation inside the cell. And so if we pause for just a moment and say, well, what is this stress that we're talking about? And where does it come from? And the answer, it comes from 10,000 places. Anything in my life, environment, home, diet, behavior, physiology, genetics, whatever, anything can alter, upset, or increase the degree or the amount of oxidation, taking it away from balance or taking it away from homeostasis. And these little sensors in that cellular thermostat, if you will, can detect or sense the amount of oxidative stress that's occurring. And so anything that's going on in our environment, if it's stress, physiologic stress or environmental stress, is seen by the cell as oxidation. And in response to it, just like in the thermostat on the wall, in response to it, something happens in the cellular machinery to respond to that oxidation. If there's a high degree of oxidation, I'm going to get inflammation. That's that NF-κB inflammatory pathway I was talking about earlier. If it's a mild amount, just a small measured amount, we call it a Goldilocks, a just right amount, then it's going to activate a different pathway that turns on my cell defenses. And so this is where the expression, if it doesn't kill you, or what doesn't kill you makes you healthy, you know, in quote marks. And it's the idea that we want to push the body, we want to push the cell just a little bit every once in a while to make it have to respond or work so that it can learn to be resilient and responsive, it can be fit, it can be on the ready to go, like a fire department. You know, the firemen, they don't know when the bell's going to ring or the siren's going to go. They have to always be ready. So they're constantly practicing. They're constantly testing themselves. They're not sitting flat-footed. They're always ready, poised, ready to go. And that's the way our cells can become. And we call that resilience, fitness. You know, I'm capable of responding. I have a good stress response mechanism. And so this is where lifestyle comes in. If I, on purpose, create even falsely a pseudo amount, or I mimic stress through exercise, dieting, fasting, ketoing, you know, all these things in lifestyle, or using a C. If I do that, I can, as it were, artificially create stress in my body in a mild way to turn on and activate and practice or become more exercised at these gene pathways that respond. They're the machine in the garage that turns on to make it work better. And what that means in the cell is I'm making more, for example, antioxidants. I'm making more glutathione, which are reducers. You know, that's a reductant or an antioxidant that comes back in and lends electrons. It's reducing this oxidative state by providing electrons and reducing as an antioxidant molecule to then rebalance the cell, whereupon when it's balanced, it turns off the pathway, it turns off the response, and I'm not going on and on. As an aside, people think, well, I'll just take my vitamins. I'll just take a lot of antioxidant vitamins to do that. And sometimes, maybe more often than not, sometimes what happens is that when I top load antioxidant vitamins, we call it exogenously, you know, from commercial sources, or I just really overdo it with the herbs, I'm actually suppressing the oxidative state that my body needs to be able to turn on these native pathways. And we call that just the opposite. It's not oxidative stress, it's now reductive stress. I've over-reduced the cell, and I've kind of robbed the cell a little bit of its capability of being responsive to these challenges. So back to where I was at with the thermostat, I think that analogy is kind of a nice model to think about, because that's what we're doing with the SIA, is we're creating a mild oxidative stress in the body that rapidly moves through the body. It cascades through the body, and it turns on these switches, these redox sensitive switches that then turn on the DNA, that tells the DNA to make certain proteins called glutathione that can then respond to the original stress upstream to solve or fix it so that it can turn it off and I'm back to balance. That's the healing potential.
So, Dr. Sunny, this is your webinar. Do you want to continue with this until the end, or do you want to move on to something else? Dr. Sunny?
Trish, I think what Doctor is actually explaining is quite intriguing, and I find it very intriguing. So let it continue right down to the end.
Okay.
Then we can have people to ask question and answer, because we devoted today to this particular subject about cell biology. I think it's quite an interesting topic for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, perfect. I will continue with Dr. Osler.
Interesting. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Osler. So we're 3 minutes from the bottom of the hour. We usually go about a half an hour, but we can surely go a few minutes longer. What else would you like to talk about? What do you think would be meaningful for the listeners?
Well, we're living in a society, day and age, where everything is conspiring against us. And we're using, because people say, well, will it work? Will this work? And I think that's really important to understand that this is not a drug. We need to make a disclaimer here that ASEA is making a product that is not a diagnosis, treatment, or cure for any medical disease. What we're doing is we are assisting the cell to function properly. And this is called root cause. If you're sick or ill or have a disease or whatever, you can take drugs that will suppress the symptoms, that will alter the course of it. And certainly, if I'm in pain, I'd like to have something to get rid of the pain. That's a medication. I'm intervening. The real question is, aside from trauma, obviously, is like, why am I hurting? Why is there this inflammation? And to be able to fix that, you need a root solution for a root cause. And it's about get your life in order. You can't just drink ASEA and sit on the couch with your remote in one hand, and Cheetos, corn chips or whatever in the other hand, and think that you're doing yourself a favor because you drink ASEA. We could argue that you really are, but the bigger picture is that you would be better if you go walk around the block and do that in addition to improve your lifestyle, to improve your health. And so we're just living in a day and age where we have so much against us that, and so many of us are on medications as an intervention, not as a prevention. And so we want root solutions for root causes, and that's what ASEA offers, is an ability to help the cell be able to turn on its stress response or stress adaptive pathways so that we can heal from the inside out. I call it awakening the inner doctor, because we have that natural healing capacity within us. We just have to find a way to turn it off, and hopefully we're intelligent and are enough, and we have eyes to see and ears to hear with regards to all the silly stuff that we're doing to hurt our bodies and our health.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Do you use redox molecules in your dental practice, Dr. Osler?
And say that again. Do I what?
Do you use redox molecules in your dental practice?
I have. I can't say that it's something I do all the time. I don't use it again to treat. So often people think, well, if I'm giving it to them, that means I'm treating something. But I'm not averse to looking at them and saying, here's a little rat card or some information that they'll hand out. I think this is something that could benefit you. I want you to look at it, and if you want to know more, I'd be glad to help you.
Sure. Fantastic. Okay, well, I guess we'll wrap up here. What would you like to say for your closing statements tonight, Dr. Osler?
Well, I think what I would say is, I would go get some. It's like what we were told to do. The real proof of this is what we call the N of one, the number of one. Dose matters because of this hormesis principle. Everybody has a different hormetic set point. And again, the drug mindset is in all of us. We want to know, well, how much should I take, and what happens when it doesn't work? And I go, well, what do you mean by work? It's working always at the cellular level. It always works. It has to work. Just like exercise works, just like dieting works, just like fasting works. They all work. But are they going to fix your arthritis and make your arthritis not be there anymore? And the answer is no. You already have arthritis. But this can deal with inflammation, and that's what we're finding in these studies. I'm on the medical professionals board with the ASEA, and I can tell you there's some exciting things that we're now beginning to look at, and some of the inflammatory markers that are being looked at that go well beyond what we've already studied in regard to NRF2 and glutathione. And as those studies come back in the next 6 to 12 months, and we start to see some strong indications that there's some right now I have to say it's conjecture. It's like it's an educated guess. So when we see that start to happen, it will confirm what we kind of already know, because we know what the science would predict, right? That we're decreasing inflammation as well. For those science geeks out there, NRF2, when it's activated, it crosstalks with NFKB. And so you can downregulate inflammatory pathways while you upregulate the NRF2 glutathione pathway. And so that's an exciting thing in the future. It's coming at us.
Well, so thank you for donating your time to the Medical Professionals Board. That's an unpaid position. And I know you do invest your time and energy in that. And thank you for bringing your credibility to ASEA, and for being really a spokesperson for the benefits and the science of redox molecules. And thank you for writing your book, Redox Matters. Thank you for all you do, Dr.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, that's about it for Dr. Osler. I do want
Some
to.
people have asked where they can learn more about the books that I've written. This was the first one that I wrote on Redox Matters. This was largely in response to physicians kind of asking for me to download to them so they wouldn't have to do their own. What it is, there's like 400 some odd citations in this, 350 citations in it. And I really wrote this because I wanted it to be bulletproof. I wanted to like anchor every possible claim, of what cell biology was. I'm not talking about ASEA in this. I'm talking about the science of redox cell biology. And if you understand that, and then understand what redox signaling molecules do, you'll understand the overlap and the connection. Then we realized I wasn't done writing here. I was done with this, and I realized this is going to be a 600-page book. So we broke it up, and Healthy Matters is about the lifestyle side of it, because this does fit in a lifestyle, and there's a lot of other things that can be done with lifestyle, nutrition, herbal medicines, and so forth that play on the same pathway. Those are available at redoxmatters.com. There's some those do not promote me and the ASEA business. They just speak to the science, and you can order those books there or go to Amazon.
Okay, yeah, we had added that on a little afterwards. Okay, so I just want to show everybody where you can find this video if you want to share it with anybody else. You just go to www.ateamsupport.com. You can see that up here in the browser. And then you have to enter a password. The password is associate with a capital A. And then once you get to A-Team Support homepage, you go down to Discover Redox, which is right here. Health Professional Webinars from 2024. Click on the Go button. And then here are the Discover Redox webinars. And you click on this little, so this is Dr. James Cusick, who we listened to last month on the first Wednesday. But then if you click this little caret, you'll see Dr. Peggy Marienfield, who we also listened to at one point, Sean Burke. He's a physical therapist, but he also experienced massive PTSD from being in the military. And he talks about his experience with the redox molecules and how it really changed his life by helping him get control of his PTSD. Then there's Dr. Barbie Phillips. She's a chiropractic physician for humans and animals. She shares several of her animal success stories with redox molecules. Anyway, you can go on and on through here and listen to and watch these videos. You can also send them to people. I think you go like this. I think you click on the Vimeo and then you just click up here in the browser and you copy and paste this URL. And we ask people not to post these publicly on Facebook or Instagram or any public social media, but you're welcome to send, you know, just one by one to a friend, any of these videos by health professionals. And I think it's a great tool for people to use to be able to educate people about redox molecules from people who have a lot of credibility in their field. So anyway, I hope that was helpful to you. I enjoyed watching that myself. I hadn't watched it since I taped it with Dr. Osler. And I'm not a scientist and I don't find it easy to understand scientific things, but I thought that was easy to understand and shed a lot of light on, you know, how redox molecules really work in our 75 trillion cells that make up our body. So back to you, Dr. Sunny. I can do a little presentation, or we can share more experiences, or whatever you like. Yeah.
Yes, Trish, I think that will be allowed in the few minutes, just for people to be able to absorb, and maybe they may want to have some questions. I know some people are saying how they can get further information. We've just posted something to submit your inquiry at www.School of Bionatural Medicine/inquiry. You can actually put any information, any detail there, and your request in terms of what is further information you'd like to receive on the presentation that we just had, and on the one that we're going to have in the very, very near future. In fact, any question? Yes, Pedro, you've actually posted something in there. You can actually open your
Dr.
You're
Sun,
kind of breaking up, Dr. Sunny. I think your internet might be having a little bit of a problem.
it's the Mauritius connection. I think he's in Mauritius,
Oh, okay.
Sunny. So maybe you could make a short presentation, Chris. That could be incredible for people to have some background of you and some background about the product.
Okay. So, I don't really, so I'm ready here with a presentation about the product. Let's see how long this takes. Actually, I have to be off of here at 1:15. So let's just start with this. So, well, here's just a little bit about me. So my husband, Bob, and I live in Idaho, which is in the northwestern part of the United States. And he does all the background and technical stuff, like help me share my screen when I get a new computer. And soon we'll be in Europe. So looking forward to seeing a lot of people in Europe. So when I start a presentation, I always tell people to thank the person who invited them to the presentation, because you heard how redox molecules changed Anna Meta's life and Henrik's life.
Progress.
And redox molecules have transformed the life of tens of thousands of people around the world. And if you use these molecules, like Dr. Lee Osler recommended, your life absolutely can be transformed also. So who can benefit from these amazing molecules? Well, anybody who's an athlete, like Henrik was talking about, who wants to boost their performance, even if you're not a professional athlete, but just a weekend athlete, or you just want to have more energy and stamina for your daily activities, you can benefit from redox signaling molecules. Anybody who's seeking better health, like you heard from Anna Meta, she had pain and discomfort in her neck for 15 years. So, you know, it really, we don't make any medical claims. SE is not a pharmaceutical, but like Dr. Lee Osler explained, when the 75 trillion cells in your body are functioning at optimal levels, this redox signaling technology can help just about anybody with just about any issue. So anybody who's looking for better health, looking for help in that area, you can benefit from these redox signaling molecules. Anybody who would like to look and feel younger can benefit from redox signaling molecules. I think that would include everybody over the age of 30 who would like to look and feel younger, right? And redox molecules can also benefit healthy people who are perfectly fine, but they want to stay healthy as they continue on into their, golden years and older years. And welcome to anybody looking for a better way of life. Like Henrik was saying, redox molecules not only change your physical health, but they can change many, many areas of your life to help you live a better and a happier life. So today we're going to discover ASEA just for the next 10 or 15 minutes. And most people who have been exposed to ASEA, they think about their old life as being before ASEA, and their new life is after ASEA. So this really can be a life-changing experience for you to learn about these redox signaling molecules. So today we've been talking about ASEA. ASEA is the only company in the world, even after 15 years in business, who has discovered how to create bioactive, stabilized redox signaling molecules outside of the body. And ASEA is the name of a company, and it is also the name of a product. So first of all, we're going to talk about the company. So the company is located in Pleasant Grove, Utah, in the United States. And the only manufacturing plant in the entire world that produces these molecules is just down the street from the executive offices, which also is in Utah. So the reason that ASEA only has one manufacturing plant is because they maintain a high level of secrecy. Like I mentioned before, even though ASEA has hundreds of US and international patents, they also have hundreds and hundreds of trade secrets. Now, patents are good, but anybody can go online and read a patent and copy what you've done, but trade secrets are private. And that's why even after 15 years in business, no one else in the world, no other company has broken the code. And so that's why ASEA has only one manufacturing plant in the world. And so what they do is they ship their product all around the world to many, many different global shipping and distribution centers. ASEA is now operating in 34 countries worldwide. So sometimes you go online and maybe you Google ASEA and maybe you read something that says ASEA is just expensive salt water. Well, if that were true, how do you think they could be operating in 34 different countries over a period of 15 years to the tune of millions and millions and millions of dollars? So you really have to be careful when you're Googling ASEA or when you're doing your research to make sure that you get information from credible sources. So what is ASEA, like I mentioned, and Dr. Osler mentioned, ASEA is not a pharmaceutical product. It's an extremely powerful health technology. And usually the pharmaceutical companies don't want people to really know how beneficial anything could be that, of course, is not in the pharmaceutical realm. And that's why ASEA has made the decision to market these remarkable redox signaling molecules through the power of relationship marketing. Well, what does that mean? That means the only way typically that you're going to find out about ASEA is if someone tells you about it and invites you to maybe a meeting in someone's home or maybe a Zoom meeting like this. So again, when you go to Google ASEA and you see some websites that says ASEA is just expensive salt water, what we recommend is that people go to ASEAglobal.com and you can get a lot of scientific information by clicking on the science tab. I thought I had a slide about that, but I guess I don't. Okay, so that's a little bit about ASEA the company. Now we're going to talk about ASEA the product. So as you can see by the label on this bottle, ASEA Redox is a cell signaling supplement. So just like Dr. Osler was saying, what this technology does is it stimulates every one of the 75 trillion cells in your body, whether those cells are in your eyes, your heart, your lungs, your neck, wherever they are, to operate at optimal levels. Now, here in the United States, we have different regulatory rules than you guys have in the UK and in Europe. So our bottle looks different than your bottle. So in the United States, on the back of every single bottle, I'm going to move this video thing, on the back of every single bottle of ASEA, it says ASEA Redox Cell Signaling Supplement contains active redox molecules, cellular messengers that affect genetic expression in a positive way, helping to protect, rejuvenate, and keep cells functioning at optimal levels. ASEA Redox has been scientifically tested and shown to signal the activation of genetic pathways that improve immune system health, help maintain a healthy inflammatory response, help maintain cardiovascular health and support arterial elasticity, improve gut health and digestive enzyme production, and modulate hormone balance to support vitality and wellness. So this is one product that can affect all these areas of health. And again, if you go to, oh, my New Year's crown isn't showing. That's very sad. Okay. Affect all these different areas of health. And again, if you go to ASEA Global, you will see various studies from various laboratories, Tourette Laboratories, which is pretty much the top genetic lab in North America. There's labs in Europe that have been used to test ASEA and etc. Okay, here's the slide that I thought was there, ASEAglobal.com, click on the science tab, and you can review all these different studies. Whoops, where did my, oh, I clicked on the, I clicked, just a second. Let me bring up my PowerPoint again. If you click on the link on the PowerPoint, it brings up the actual website. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. Okay, so ASEA Redox technology can be taken internally in the form of redox liquid, and ASEA Redox molecules can also be applied externally with our gel called Renew 28. Now, Renew 28 actually is very, very powerful. It actually has more redox molecules in it than ASEA Redox. So if you have any type of issue, the best thing to do is apply redox molecules on the outside of your body with our redox gel and the inside of our body with our redox supplement. And like Anna Mehta was saying, and also Dr. Osler was saying, if you're not noticing the changes that you want in a week or two, what you're going to want to do is double the amount that you're taking. And if that doesn't work, double it again. Sometimes your body needs to be kickstarted and have more redox signaling molecules to start getting the changes that you want. Also, you want to drink a lot of water occasionally, not very often, but sometimes when people drink ASEA Redox, what they find is they have a headache or they have a little bit of nausea or something like that. Sometimes there could even be an outbreak in the skin. Again, not usually, but occasionally. And what this is that the cells are detoxing. And so you want to drink a lot of water to be able to flush those toxins out of your body so ASEA Redox can continue to stimulate the cleansing and health of your cells. So these are just some pictures showing how ASEA Redox changes the outside of people's bodies. These are before and after pictures. And one of the reasons that we show people these is because if redox molecules are doing this to the outside of your body, just imagine what the redox supplement could be doing to the inside of your body. So you can use the ASEA Redox anywhere on the body, of course, the Renew 28, the Redox gel. And many, many people see miraculous improvements. This is a very interesting picture. So we have hundreds and thousands of before and after pictures showing how, people's skin has improved. Again, if you have unwanted cells that are multiplying on the outside of your body and you apply the gel and you can see the visible change, just imagine what ASEA Redox would be doing on the inside of your body. So we have something called the 3 and 5. Henrik is very, very good at this. What you do is you apply the Redox gel 3 times in 5 minutes to an area of someone's body where they may be experiencing discomfort. And I'd say 10 out of 12 people will notice an immediate difference within the 3 applications during the 5 minutes. So it's very, very powerful demonstration. Also, another way to demonstrate redox molecules, I hope you don't get a bruise, but if you do, what you need to do is apply redox molecules immediately. And healing that would usually take a few days, sometimes only takes a few hours. If you cut yourself, the first thing you want to do, like I cut my finger the other day, put some redox in a shot glass, put your finger in it. The bleeding will stop, the pain will go away. Healing that usually would take a few days will happen in only a few hours. So you can easily see what these molecules do. Every living being on the planet has redox molecules. So animals have redox molecules. We don't promote the use of redox molecules on animals here in the United States. It's not legal to promote health supplements for animals, but some people make the decision that they'd like to use it on their own pets and oftentimes see remarkable results. And then another very simple thing that you can do is you can take a plant. You can put it in 3 different jars, 3 different glasses. You can put it the same plant in salt water. You can see that the plant starts to die. You can put the plant in regular water and it, it looks pretty good. But when you put the plant in ASEA, you can see that the plant really starts to flourish. So people who say ASEA is just expensive salt water are sadly mistaken. And you can prove that to yourself by doing this simple test. So with that, I think that's probably enough. Just a little introduction about redox molecules. And then what we can do is, I have about 7 more minutes that I can be with you here. So maybe people want to share some experiences, or does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask in the next few minutes here?
Thank you. Trish, for organizing our presenter for today and also for yourself. People always ask me, oh, today's a New Year's Day. Why
New Year's. Happy New Year's. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Why do we have to organize? I said, well, people are ill every day. People are in hospital right now. People are ill in the discomfort of their own home, in their own corner. We are bringing good news, cell biology, to many, many people around the globe. And I'm sure that majority of you have heard some good news, how you can look after yourself and your loved ones. So if you feel that what you've heard tonight, this morning, this afternoon, which country you're living in right now, if you feel it was an informative and useful information, what I'd like you to do is to put number 1 in the chat box, and you're going to see my number 1 on the chat box, or in the chat box. Mine is 111 all the way through. Okay. By virtue of all of that, you can see that it was a very, very useful afternoon, evening, and morning for many, many different countries of the globe. Yes, this is a global business. And we are School of Bio-Natural Medicine. We work closely with ASEA because we have seen it to be one of the resolute cell biology that really and truly support many people and the way they live. One of my doctor friends in London said about a few days ago, he said, people are really suffering from various medical conditions. Isn't that interesting? People are really suffering. Yes, we do understand that. Hence the reason why we promote this particular platform. And one of my financial accountants actually once said, this about a few months ago, he said, people are equally financially suffering. Yes, we in the UK, financially we're a developed economy, but at the vertical level, at individual level, people are suffering like crazy. The inflation and the hardship, the economic reality is biting every single day. So the good news is what we are bringing to you on this particular platform is that we also have the commercial part of how you can turn this particular opportunity, health information, into financial advantages in a very legal and formalized way. And we do this every Saturday, 10 a.m. UK time, how you can turn health into wealth, or bring the two of them together. Every Wednesday, we run this particular session of Know Your Body. And I say I've been part of our cellular cell biology program. It features regularly here because it's supporting so many people and I myself. Just give you my own experience. This particular week, I went for shopping in one of the shopping center in the UK, and I just was arranging the bottles of Coca-Cola and all the rest of them. One of them just burst, and it hit me here, my forehead, and it was bleeding non-stop. So when I get home, I simply just rub on my Renault 28. Would you believe it? It stopped almost immediately. All right. Now there's no sign of it after 5 days. Isn't that really an amazing product? So the purpose of our platform is to promote healthy living, is to help people to support, have that correct information where they can look after themselves. We are not against any allopathic intervention using paracetamol, Panadol, or whatever other medication. But as we have mentioned, scientifically be proven, this intervention deals with they deal with the symptoms. They don't deal with the root cause of the problem. The root cause is to use, also activate, to enable a cell to function to the optimal capacity, optimum level. That's the root cause of every human functionality in their whole.
Dr. Sonny, I can
Doctors
see
here,
there's some questions out before Trish is going to leave. I can see that Elizabeth is having a question, and also out in the
okay.
out in the
Yes,
chat also.
Elizabeth, thanks a lot, Harry. Yeah, Elizabeth, yeah, throw your questions onto the podium, please.
It's me. I don't think Elizabeth is here.
Oh,
I've been
actually,
calling
that's
her
Catherine.
and texting
That's
her.
Catherine. Catherine,
Yeah.
hi.
Yes,
sorry.
Yeah, that's okay, Eric. Yeah, put it already. How does it work with cancer?
Mm.
Okay,
Okay.
I need to leave the webinar now. My family is waiting for me. I'm gonna leave it to Henrik and Anameta and Dr. Sunny to answer the questions. Happy
Yeah.
New Year. It was a pleasure to be with everybody. And
Thank
Wonderful.
you so
have a
much.
wonderful 2025. Thank you so much for inviting me to the webinar.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay. That is very simple for me to handle. Faithful Charity. That's Catherine, by the way, everybody. Catherine, you remember this is not, Readers is not about making a claim in terms of the curative propensity. It is not about what it kills, what it doesn't kill. What this particular product, what it does, it works with your cell. Is for your cell to be able, for your body to be able to withstand any medical issues that affect the whole body. What is cancer and how does it actually come about? It's all about your cellular formation and functionality. If your cells are able or are willing or are in a homeostasis state, a balanced state, nothing can touch it. And you also will notice at the same time that as far as cancer is concerned, there's so many variety of them. right? And some people are in stage 1, stage 3, stage 4, and different level of that condition. Whilst the redox may not cure, but it can help your body to be able to function by rejuvenating, repairing those cells that can withstand a lot of attacks from any medical condition.
Dr. Sonny,
So
can I have a just a few
absolutely,
words?
I'm just going to come to you now, Henry, also for you to have a response to that
Thank you
particular
also,
question.
because like Dr. Sonny is saying, we're not having a medication. And in Europe, there's very hard rules. Like you can see, there's something else standing about the ingredients in the US, like here in US, like in Europe, where it's much harder with regulation. So we're actually not allowed to tell about diseases. But of course, when we have the basic of the body, when people called me 9 years ago and I was totally new into this and not a doctor like a lot of these people on the line, they called me with all kind of disease and asking me, and I was calling ASEA support to ask about that. And I could hear they got very quiet when I start to talk about diseases at the ASEA support. But what I found out is when it has something with cells to do, it might help you. It can help you. So everything is about cell communication. But without talking about diseases, we can send you a lot of stories about people who had an incredible results on this. And also, I know that we're having somebody here on the line with incredible results like this. So I don't know, Lene Korfitsen, are you ready to just say a few words, maybe? Could that be possible?
Regina?
Lene? Otherwise, we can maybe get her on the line next time to tell, because you can have several stories. Also, I can send from one of our very good friends and top 5 in ASEA worldwide from Australia. Actually, an incredible story where you can see that he's sitting in the hospital with no hair in the first picture of him. And actually, the other 2 guys on the side of him didn't live 6 months after that. So they had the same problem at the time that he was starting on this incredible product. So I can make sure you're going to have a lot of info about that. But you can see that people being here for a long time, they can tell a lot of things about disease without telling anything about the disease name. So I saw people also saying, I was starting in this company because my daughter had a problem where the normal curement is doing that you're losing your hair. Then people thinking, is that maybe, yeah, maybe, but you didn't say anything or didn't say too much. So you can say a lot without saying much. It's about cell communication. And if something with cells to do, it may help you.
Correct. Faithful Charity, I hope that supplies you with some responses of what you ask.
Thank you. Yeah, it does. Thank you so much.
It's like when you go to a hospital, the doctor never promised you anything 100%. And in the medical world, 100% never operates. They will say to you, apply it. And that's why we always sign a disclaimer. I remember when I went for my eye operation about 5 years ago, I said to the doctor, just before COVID, I said to the doctor, if I don't sign, what happens? He said, we will not provide you with the service, because they need to put themselves in a disclaimable position. That's the reality of it. So without laboring anything, we are just saying, if it wasn't the Renault 28 that actually provide me with the blood cloth and the solution within some immediate time scale, what else has done it? I don't know. So we have to make judgment for ourselves.
I can also say we are having English meeting trainings with diamonds or higher people who make success in this ASEA business every Tuesday. And last Tuesday, it was actually a guy having this problem in 9 different organs through his life. And he is now in the top 20 of the highest income earner in ASEA after 9 years. And he's 86 years old yesterday. So maybe gonna have a look at what happened when you're starting on this. And Jack Clark is really an example of when you get better yourself, you cannot keep quiet. You have to tell everybody about it. And that's really the most pure way to make business.
Very good. Excellent.
Just to mention, sorry, about these two books you heard with Lee Osler. Both books are written by Dr. Lee Osler, and you can find them in Amazon. We bought them in
Okay.
Amazon. So everything what you heard today from Lee Osler, you can buy in Redox Matters. You're going to find that one. And also about your lifestyle, also from Lee Osler, Healthy Matters. So that's about your lifestyle and also about redox. And Rai, he can say so much about this and about diseases in these books. That's why nowhere it says anything about ASEA. ASEA is the company name. So try also to use redox as much as possible when you're telling people that redox did this to me, because that's actually what's happening. So then we can tell much.
Yeah. Well, redox simply stands for reduction of oxidation. That's what it really stands for, which reduces inflammation and help your body to optimize its own cells. That's exactly what it is. And that's what the signaling supplement or redox actually helps our body to achieve. We have, yes, a promotion and event coming up in January the 4th, as you can see it on the screen. And we also have one roadshow that will be taking place in Birmingham and in London on the 31st of January, 1st of February, 7 and 8 of February. So we're going to be doing a lot of roadshow across the whole of United Kingdom in 2025. So stay tuned. You're not only going to help many, many and thousands of people in terms of recovery from their own health, optimizing their own functional part of their own body, but also to see how they can turn this into a money-making system. Yes, doctors, they go to medical school, pilot go to flying school, accountant go to financial school, all for professional skills and training into the benefit of the public, but they get well paid for it. The same way with us in terms of this particular platform. If we do not have any further information or further thing to discuss, this particular platform will close in the next 7 minutes. So we're going to leave it open with the music on the background. And if you have any question to raise within that particular time scale, we'll be able to help you to do so. Are you willing and able to, or you want to be part of the whole process? Do you want to purchase your own product today? We already have, as you could see, a form, an inquiry form, which we have posted onto the platform where you can buy your own consumption today, and this will be delivered within 3 to 5 working days to your home within Europe. If you live anywhere else, we might be able to facilitate that delivery to the point. Yes, you can see the submission of inquiry form. Again, so that anyone who wishes to place an order can safely demonstrate themselves, show the visibility of that by completing that form. Then we will respond to you shortly. We'd like to thank Trish and Dr. Osley, and I always call it Amnet.
Just one thing, I could see that a bright question from Catherine, where actually these meetings are. So hopefully you're going to be a part of our Facebook Lead for Speed, and that's where you can have all these trainings every Tuesday from different diamonds around the world, and also only a few days after it's going to be posted, the presentation, so we can find the presentation for the last 2 years in our Facebook, and also with subtitles in 16 different languages. So very professional. So if you're not a part of it yet, talk with the guy who put you into ASEA, or just contact me, and I'm gonna make sure that you're gonna be a member of the Lead for Speed, so you can have all these info and all these trainings from the best one around the world.
Fantastic. Yes, Catherine, the Renault 28 is around about 40, 45 pounds. But if you're already your own supplier, your associate, I think it's a slightly less than that. So that's what I can provide you. I've always recommended you open your own account rather than buying from me. You buy from your own account. That's the reality. But if you want to buy from me on a retail basis, I can sell it for up to £50. In fact, the ones I just received, they were about £50. And yes, you always have the delivery charges and no residence. So and those prices you're seeing, they are prices for the associates. Yes, Catherine. Yeah, if you need further information, you can go to Herring directly or myself. So there's no problem at all. Okay, officially, this platform is now being brought to a close. And Ash, you can now conclude and just put in the interlude music for the next 5 minutes. Have a good one, everyone. And
Thank
I'll
you,
speak to you
Dr.
soon.
Sunny.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Thank you.
So we look
I see
forward
us.
to seeing you again at the upcoming event. And until then, please stay healthy, stay curious, and take care, everybody, of your well-being. We see you this Saturday, 10 a.m. UK time. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Angela.
Thank you, Ash.